Indian news, always the best news in town. Just some and a essay Kosubio. A bar NPP NDC, a memo and some dear any what China Indian news more and our 20. Yet here in some are a coso and nay and what Yamano Semimo. Now, yet to me, and Fabi and so near her be a suswa and the body one and so ever far. In Simbi a chabu are men person with the man of also cry. Young put here in Simimra the bar. Deɛ aka biara nso no yɛde bɛtoa wo so pɛ sɛ wode comment ɛbɛto aseɛ na ebiom koraa mpo no pɛ sɛ wobɛsubscribe to yɛn channel no na afoforɔ nso so anya bi ahwɛ anya bi atie na other news bi ɛfa ho biara no yɛtumi de ama wo. When it comes to politics and governance, whether NPP NDC deɛ a Nimdeɛ news ɛwɔ ɛberɛ de ma wo paa. Nsɛm bi ɛtwa gu ɛnnɛ yi ɛwɔ Ghana man mu wɔ about their politics na nkurɔfoɔ pii na nso na ɛkyɛ wɔn adwene ɛwɔ nsɛm yi ɛho. Menim sɛ ɔnso wɔ adwenkyerɛ yɛtie nsɛm yi mmara sisi a deɛ ba a yɛaka biara no yɛde ɛbɛtoa wo so ma remfi sɛ ɔbɛsubscribe sɛdeɛ mede kaka kyerɛw no yɛntie mmara sisi a na kyerɛ w'adwene nso ɛwɔ ho.
The President John Dramani Mahama has nominated 7 justices to the Supreme Court, which is already sparking a fair measure of controversy, especially coming in the midst of the processes that have already been triggered for the removal of the Chief Justice, and a copy of this particular memo that has now been written to the Judicial Council that I have in my hand says that, quote, pursuant to Article 1442 of the Constitution of Ghana 1992, His Excellency, the President, has nominated the following justices of the Court of Appeal to be considered for appointment to the Supreme Court. And there are 7 of them. First is Justice Sir Dennis Dominic Ajay, Justice Simon Subare, Justice Senyor Jamefe, Justice Kweku Teria Akabuafo, Justice Philip Bright Mensah, Justice Janapari Bartels Kojo, and Justice Hafisata Ameaboba. 7 justices of the Superior Court who have today been nominated for consideration by the Council. And the second part of this letter says attached are their CVs. I trust that this Council will expedite action on their considerations. It says, please accept the assurances of my highest consideration. It's signed by Callistus Mahama, the Secretary to the President, and they also copied to the Acting Chief Justice, Judicial Council, Accra. Also, attention, His Lordship, Justice Paul Baffo Boni. Of course, you know he is the acting CJ. Also copied to the Vice President and the Chief of Staff. And so if you're just joining us, this is the breaking news we're now learning and confirmed from the Office of the President. 7 justices have now been nominated to the Supreme. Of them, Justice Dennis Dominic Ajay, Justice Simon Subare, Justice Senyor Jamefe, Justice Kweku Teria Akabuafo, Justice Philip Bright Mensah, Justice Bartels Kojo, and Justice Hafisata Ameleboba. And I want to quickly get some reactions to this developing story from Frank Davis. He's the chairman of the Constitutional and Legal Committee of the MPP. Joins me right now on the line. Martin Kwebu is also a lawyer. Both of them joining me as this story breaks. We're all learning about this literally in the last few minutes. Mr. Davis, reaction to this?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ivan. Good evening once again to your esteemed viewers and listeners. Or rather, Ivan, you introduced me as a senior member of the bar, so far as this matter is concerned. I mean, chairman of the Constitutional Legal Committee of the party, everybody knows, but I'm speaking as a senior member of the bar now. So I think it will have been best to introduce me that time. But thank you. Well, Ivan, interesting times ahead for the judiciary. I mean, of course, nobody can take away the rights of the president to nominate justices to the bench of the Supreme Court. So, the constitutional prerogative is that of the president. The names that you have mentioned, from Sir Dennis to Afisata Amaliboba, I have had the privilege and of practicing before all of them as justices of the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and now that they are being elevated to the Supreme Court. I mean, it is the expectation of every justice of the Superior Court of Judicature to be in the highest court of the land. So I can only congratulate them at this stage. And it's the expectation of reward that sweetens labor. But, well, I don't know. I don't know.
What do you make of the timing? What do you make of the time of this?
Yeah, that's where I was coming to. You know, I'm at pains to say this. But the comments of His Excellency the President at the forum where he addressed a group of lawyers who have categorized themselves as NDT lawyers, he made certain remarks, and that some lawyers should, in their midst, should, as it were, aspire to be on the bench so that there will be a balancing equation of the number of justices that His Excellency the President and Akufo-Addo had appointed onto the bench of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal and the High Court. So if on the back of that, the President should at this stage nominate 7 names for consideration by the Judicial Council to the Supreme Court. The optics for me is for Ghanaians to judge. Hey, I cannot. So far as the President has the constitutional prerogative to do that, it is in Mrs. Rabbit so to do. But how many justices do we have in the Supreme Court now? About, if I'm not mistaken, about 11, 12. So if you add 7, we are going to have about 19 justices. That is quite a number. But, hey, Evans, I'm not the President. I'm a trained lawyer and a citizen, but I leave the better judgment to Ghanaians, because if the idea is to balance the equation, to put as many justices in the Supreme Court or other courts just because President Akufo-Addo has done. When there are vacancies on the Supreme Court bench, yes, the President has the constitutional prerogative and rights to nominate and elevate justices from not only from the Court of Appeal, but from the High Court, depending on your industry and scholarship, you can be elevated to the Supreme Court. But the timing is a bit challenging. That's all I can say for now.
Thank you very much. That there is Frank Davis, Chair of the Constitutional Legal Committee of the LPP. I still have with me Martin. But with Martin, I'm curious to learn what your reaction is to it. First of all, when you first heard that the president already, less than 120 days into his administration, has nominated 7 justices to the Supreme Court, what was your initial reaction, Martin? Hello, Martin Pebu. Okay, we may have lost him, but we'll bring him back for his reaction. And as you may know by now, a major developing story breaking in the last few minutes. President John Dramani Mahama has nominated 7 justices to the Supreme Court, and he also is asking the Judicial Council to expedite their consideration as a matter of urgency. The 7, if you're just joining us, are Justice Dennis Dominic J, Justice Simon Subare, Justice Senor Jamefe, Justice Teria Akabuafo, Justice Bright Mensah, Justice Bartels Kweju, Justice Hafiz Atta Amaleboba. These are the 7 justices of the Court of Appeal who have now been elevated to the Supreme Court. This is a nomination, so the Judicial Council will have to consider the nomination that has been done by the President, and then it will go to the rest of the processes. We'll examine the constitutionality of this action pretty shortly, and thankfully, Martin Kpebu is with me. Martin, what was your initial reaction when you first learned of this?
Yeah, so I kind of was a bit surprised. Yeah, surprised because, we had been making arguments a few months ago that before the numbers are increased, we should have a national conversation. So I'm like, hey, now, can we stick by previous words or we are going to change, So that's a very serious matter because, when Chief Justice Tokondo presented that list of 5 justices to the President for appointment to the Supreme Court, we came out and made a lot of noise. Amongst some of the arguments were the fact that before the number is increased beyond the conventional 15, there should be a national conversation. So I know that list that had 5 was going to shoot the number beyond 15. That's 14 justices plus the Chief Justice, making it 15. So that list of 5 was going to take it beyond the 15. And the importance of the 15 is that during President Kufuor's time, under the African peer review mechanism, for going beyond the conventional 14, 15 10. So meaning that, and even in the GBA case versus Attorney General, etc., yes, there were references to it. So right now, with the list being 7, and also some people appearing to be far junior than some justices who have been on the Court of Appeal for longer, etc., I can see that the debate is going to be very robust, very, very robust. But it's good. It shows that citizens are getting more involved. Because when you look on the list, the people that we all had been hard done by are 3. Number 1 is Justice Senor Jamefe. Number 2, Justice Dennis J. And then number 3, Justice Barre. Yes. But beyond that, the other people, there's going to be a lot of arguments. The same arguments we're making, because people were making arguments that they are taking people who are far junior to us to the Supreme Court. So, and especially I know Senor Jamefe and Dennis J. and their case. It was so palpably wrong. We felt that if you thought they are not competent, which is not the argument, then at least bring out facts that will show so. So all the arguments we made a few months ago, the chicken have come home to roost. So we just have to repeat the same arguments. We can't say to want to, change the hymn sheet. If we change, we'll be caught in a web of hypocrisy. So for now, I can't change my hymn sheet.
So repeat your position again for me then.
So we had said that, look, if you're going beyond 15, then there should be a national conversation. And this one dates way back to Adam Smith. Yeah, you see quotations from Adam Smith saying that in the matter, the economics, talking also about judicial matters. You see a paper that H.P.T. prepared, the chairman of the Constitutional Review Commission, where Adam Smith said that, look, when it comes to appointing justices, citizens should be involved in the conversation. So we feel left out. We've not been involved in this conversation, especially as it appears this number will shoot it way beyond the 15 justices. So the convention is that we have 14 Supreme Court justices plus the Chief Justice 15, right? Some even dispute it. Some say it's just 14, plus with the Chief Justice included. Others say it's 14 justices plus the Chief Justice, making it 15. So whichever way, if you add the 7, we are going way beyond 14 or 15.
So do I hear you say? Do I hear you say you are opposed to this action, this nomination, because it's fundamentally going to leave the bench with more than 15 justices?
Yes, to the extent that we've not had a national conversation. That is what we asked for the last time. We said, let's have a national conversation. If you are going to break a convention, let's sit around the table and then debate it robustly, right? Yes, issues of public interest should be robustly debated, right? Robust arguments back and forth. You see, Kweku Asare also did a long paper. Please dig them up. Let's read. You see all the arguments he presented. So basically, Evans, we are caught by our words and our arguments a few months ago. It's not, we cannot lightly shift our arguments. No, nothing is changed to warrant a shifting of the argument.
Give me your
Let
quick
the
thoughts.
public weigh in.
Give me your quick thoughts on what has happened tonight with the nomination. Is that due process?
You see, if you talk about formal due process, yes, but I'm making the strong argument that because the number is going beyond the conventional 14 or 15, we had asked for a national conversation. That
My question is an attempt to move from there. I think you make that point very clearly. I'm just curious to know, the president appears to be initiating the process and nominating and asking the Judicial Council to consider. Is that what the process dictates? Is that what the Constitution dictates?
Oh, yes. So, there's a case called this GBA, versus Attorney General. The last one, that was when they were about appointing Professor Mensah Bonsu, right? Yes. And then the GBA went to court, blah, blah. Mafusao, no, that was a Mafu, not Mensah Bonsu. It was a Mafusao this round. That's the one that brought Fuaman in. And then Mafusao was one of the persons that the bar felt should have been included, but he was not included. So the GBA went to court. And then the Supreme Court said, so you are interested in, is that due process? Yes. The Supreme Court said yes. Due process. The president can nominate, the bar can also nominate, right? Yes. So there's that thing. Then the Judicial Council. So it goes to the Judicial Council. Then the Judicial Council looks at them and then advises the president. So the good thing now is that it says that the president cannot go outside the list that the Judicial Council will present.
So what it means is that although the president has sent 7, the Judicial Council can come back and say we believe only 5 really merit an appointment to the Supreme Court, and the president has no choice than to stay within that limit.
Yes. And within that 5, that one he has a liberty to maybe choose number 5 and number 4 and leave out number 1, 2, 3 if he wishes. It's that one that presents an interesting scenario. Maybe in future they will look at how to further tighten.
Martin, thank you very much. And that is Martin Kpebude giving us his thoughts on the breaking news coming in the last 30 minutes. Also, where the nomination of 7 justices to the Supreme Court. As I speak right now, there is another developing story around the former National Signal Bureau boss, Kwabena Dubois, who has tonight also been charged with 11 counts, including stealing, defrauding by false pretense, and causing financial loss in that $7 million contract scandal. The Attorney General just left court a short while ago. He's addressing a news conference right now. I want to take you live there.